Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bromancia podcast about the magic of books. I'm Josh, and today I'm talking about When Villains Rise by Rebeccas Schaeffer. So let's blackmail the magic of books. I thought this was let's just kind of talk about it. This is the third book in the Market of Monsters series. I thought it was a good book. I feel like it really kind of progressed the series. Obviously it progresses the series, but it really kept those themes going through the series, and especially the themes from the second book. It really kind of hits and gets them really solidified in this book, and I feel like that was a really good choice on the author's part to continue that. I feel like her writing has steadily improved a little bit. I can't, jump up and down and say it's the best writing I've ever read, but it was good. I didn't see anything that was really crazy about it. There were a couple little nitpicky things that I'm going to talk about later that just were like, what? Really? This is what it is? But or this is how it's going to play out. But for the most part, I didn't have any real issues with the story or how it takes place. As I'm thinking about it, The Market of Monsters is an interesting series name for this series because the first book is all about the market. The second and third books are they're still about the market, or the market of monsters being killed and sold on the black market, or secretly, versus in the actual market of monsters, or that they blew up in the first book. So I don't think that's a bad idea, though. I just was came into my head as I was thinking about it. And this book definitely ends the trilogy. I'm pretty satisfied with where it left off. I'm not 100% happy, but I'm not sad about where things how they ended, or where they ended, because I think it's really good. So let's just try and talk about this. Let's get into some character work here. Let's talk about Kovit. He is, still growing. He's changing because he's obviously had to just kill Henry, and he's starting to freak out because they know his name's going to go up on the list soon. So, we get this feeling throughout the book, or at least I was in the first and second book, that maybe Kovit necessarily isn't as bad as he is, even though he's told us a couple times, yes, I like to hurt people. That's my preferred method for getting food. But because we talk a lot about the law kind of pushing them to be the worst version of themselves, we think, maybe Kovit after all of this will change. He'll grow. He'll want to do less. And it's nope. At the end of the book, he's just yep, I still want to hurt people. I still love hurting people. That's kind of how I do it. They get their groove on. Him and Nita, they kind of figure each other out. I don't like to be there when you torture people. You don't like it when I dissect people. So those are just going to be our hobbies that are separate from each other, but we'll still be together. And then he's I'll just pretend, and be good for a while and get my food from these other places that aren't evil. And because at the end of the book, they do get rid of the list through a whole lot of coincidences that I didn't see coming, but at the same time can 100% stand behind these choices. I didn't feel like it was out of left field or too crazy, or just oh, of course, her mom just happens to be a founding member of the INHUP. It was more oh my gosh, her mom's a founding member of the INHUP because her mom's immortal and it doesn't matter, and she likes to hunt people. And that was Nita's mom, of course, and that was very exciting. And then his sister, he meets with his sister, and he gets in contact with her, and they're oh, I love you and I'm so sorry, are you being good, are you getting food? And he's yeah, of course. And then she finds out that he killed her agent friend, who was oh, he probably would have helped you too. And it's yeah, okay, maybe, but you didn't know that. Granted, I think they should have taken a little bit better precautions when planning that kill, which I am glad to say they did get a lot better at killing people in this book, because they kill quite a lot of people in this book. So, but it's good. It was kind of refreshing to see that they just stayed evil. I mean, Nita is less evil. She's pretty, self-focused here. Kovit's, I think, just definitely evil because he does like to hurt people, but Nita's kind of oh, maybe I don't want to hurt everybody, and she finally figures out in this book that it's not worth it to try and kill everybody. Some people you just have to let live. So let's talk about Nita for a little bit. She still has this dream of going to college, which is really good. I've been pushing for that. She is a planner. She shows some excellent planning, but there's a couple things that I was just that's your plan, is to just go in and take it and then do something with it, and you'll make people afraid of you enough that you can go to college. And it's I don't think you can make people afraid enough to go to college, but luckily she has a dare who is able to help her out and point her in the right direction. And her mom in the beginning, I'm going to have to offer a full and complete retraction of my like for the mom from the previous book. When I read it there, it looked like it was moving in the right direction. And in this book, it was definitely not moving in the right direction, her relationship with her mom, because her mom is, in fact, still very controlling and very possessive. And it's more of an exercise of, this is your chance to do what I tell you to do when I'm not telling you to do it right over your shoulder. I'm going to do what you need to do do. I'm a hunter. I want to kill this Zanny. I'm just going to kill him. And then, proceeds to try and kill Kovic. And does basically kill Kovic. But luckily, because Nita and Kovic had just killed the vampire, they're able to kind of drink that blood, which slows down the aging, plus a little bit of a mix of Nita's blood helps Kovic recover, which was pretty interesting. I'm not sure whether she should have let Kovic die or not. It's really tough to say, because is the book stronger or worse with him living? I think it was better with him living, but I think she could have done it just as easily, or maybe not just as easily, but just as effectively if he had died. All right, while we brought her up, let's talk about Nita's mom for a little bit. Like I said, I had to retract everything I say. She is very bad. She's very evil, very controlling, just likes to hunt and kill people. I was wondering what was going to happen with Nita, if she was just going to escape and be on the run for a while, or if she was going to try and kill her mom. Obviously, her mom has a lot of practice, and her mom also has those, if she has the same, ability as Nita does, which she does. She can, super harden her muscles, and she's been working on this a lot longer than Nita, so she's probably a lot more durable. So I was very surprised and excited to see her die by explosion, which was just great. Then the explosion was so powerful that Nita, who's crouched behind a desk, already toughening her skin, in preparation for this and everything, her muscles get melted, her bones crack. I was just like, oh, this is some very good descriptions. I was going to say, the gruesome factor in this one was definitely still there when they're torturing people and they're killing people. And then especially in this scene where details the destruction that this explosion causes, totally destroys her mom, leaves a couple feet, a bone or two and something else. And then I think it was a really good line. I was very glad that she actually was able to somehow include it, but she wrote all 3 book titles in one sentence. So, not even bones, only ashes remained when Nita rose. Now, Nita is obviously the villain. She rises up. It was very kind of that's a cool moment. It's not often that a writer is able to kind of work that in and make it fit and be effective and not sound super cheesy or corny, and I didn't feel like it did. So, gotta mention Fabricio a little bit here. He is an interesting character. He is a big liar. He can't stop lying, he says. Never knows what's the truth and what's a lie. He's told so many, he can't keep it all straight. This is part of this Fabricio is my little bit of nitpicks, where his dad is not actually his dad. It's just his caretaker who, we don't know who to believe, whether it's Fabricio or the caretaker that he was taking care of him until he turns 18 and can get into the passwords or not. Fabricio clearly doesn't care about his dad's business, because he basically burns it all to the ground when he gives it to Nita with her password. But all right, let's just put it out there. You cannot find a 13 terabyte hard drive that you can just plug in and be just fine. That is not going to happen. A 13 terabyte hard drive, that's especially a single hard drive. You can get, I thought it read a flash drive the first time, and I was like, whoa. 13 terabytes is kind of a lot. You can get big, portable hard disks that are backup ones that are 8 to 10 terabytes. But that's still pricey. You gotta find a good one, and then it's a lot more work than just, let me just plug one thing into the laptop and it works. Now, I'm not trying to falter for this. This is just for Rebeccas Schaeffer for this. This is just something I noticed that I was like, whoa. No. I mean, you could carry it around inconspicuously, I guess, but if you're holding a hard drive in your hand, that's kind of weird. You'd put it in your backpack. Any kind of damage could damage the hard drive. That's kind of this. The other thing, the guy who's in charge of Tuacan Law, he just shows up to a meeting with a senator, politician who's, there for the meeting without his guards. If he's truly he's not part of a mob boss, because obviously Kovic was part of the mob boss, but it's a very similar thing. You'd think he'd show up with guards where he's like, I have a lot of powerful information and everybody would want to be getting to it. Therefore, I better protect myself. But no, he just walks into the meeting, walks into the hotel room, knocks on the door, gets let in, nothing. I'm like, that's it? No guards? So Tuacan Law was kind of disappointing to me. They get in super easily. There's no issue. They get all the data. Fabricio betrays them. They get out. And then Fabricio and Nita kind of patch things up a little bit, where they're like, hey, I'll provide Kovic with the best lawyer that'll get him off for sure. You just leave me alone forever. And they're like, okay, let's do it. Let's go our separate ways. So the Tuacan Law part was disappointing. But okay, the other thing I was thinking about that was just was that really, is they murder 3 people in the exact same room. And I get that, they're not that professional, though. They're still teenagers, right? So, they're not going to be professional. Yes, I know how to murder anyone without a sound, especially Covey torturing somebody. That's going to make a little bit of sound no matter kind of what he does. But like, they kill the politician, then they get the vampire, which she dissects, and then they get Fabrizio's dad and they kill him. And it's like, this was like, I mean, it's a hotel room. Not everybody's going to be like looking in the hotel room or like watching that carefully. Like, so I could totally see it happening. But for the level of like fanciness that this hotel seems to be, I'm like, that just is just a little bit far-fetched for me. And then I just had another question I was thinking of. I was like, what about unicorns? They have to eat souls. There is, like Xannies, there's kind of like an unlimited amount of pain that they could cause or do to get their food. Which again, I'm just still on that whole like, why can't the Xannies turn off their hunger? Like, maybe they'd still starve and get that feeling, but they don't have to feed at every opportunity when they can, especially if you can't actually get any food from it. But the unicorns, if they have to eat a soul, like how often is that kind of a thing? Is that like they have to eat a soul a day? Because that's going through a lot of people. A soul a month, a soul every so often, like when they get hungry. Doesn't matter, and it's not explained. That's just kind of where my brain was going. I was really surprised that Nita's plan for everything also was just like, well, we'll just go after them next, and we'll just kind of expand our plan and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So first we're just going to go to Tuacahn Law, then we're going to have to take down the dangerous list. And it's like, well, we can't take down the list, and Covey's already on it. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take down all of INHUP, which they're able to do because it's a corrupt organization and it has some secrets, and they expose them along with some very, very selected video evidence of Covey being a Zanny and being forced to do some torture. You know, like it was... I'm just surprised that it worked. I'm glad it worked. It was fun. The plot moved very fast. It kept me really engaged and be like, how are they going to get out of this? How are they going to move to the next plot? Like, where are they going to go from here? Nita using her super muscles and her super strength to pick up a motorcycle and chuck it into a crowd. That was kind of actually a gruesome scene where she's like, yep, I just threw it and I, hit these people and knocked them down and, killed them or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, they're not kidding, but it was a mob that they were trying to escape from. So can't say that it was completely undeserved for those people. And so at the end of the book, Nita has all the information, but again, she doesn't know what to do with it. She calls up Adair and strikes a deal. She'll be his apprentice. She'll go to Toronto for school, learn how to do medical dissecting in the daytime and black marketeering in the nighttime. So it's a good move on her part to actually be like, hey, Adair, you can use this information the most effectively. You have to just teach me. I'm not just going to put my life in your hands, because that's something she doesn't, like to do. So all in all, I think it was really fun. It was really good. That's kind of all I have to talk about When Villains Rise by Rebeccas Schaeffer. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks to David Hillowitz for the intro and outro music. If you have any questions, comments, please send them to libromancypod@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. And remember to blackmail the magic of books.